Huge updates coming to Microsoft Flight Simulator in 2023, a lot of them as early as January, including a major update to the G3000, 5000 suite, and this aircraft here, the Cessna Citation Longitude. Stick around to find out this information, guys. It is incredible. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides for Microsoft Flight Simulator, please consider joining me on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future updates and future guides that will be coming down the road. Link to Patreon can be found in the description below. Okay guys, welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator news and updates. And I was going to do a big, long, multiple articles, but this one article has so much information in it that I want to do this completely separate. We have a ton of fantastic information that is coming into, or updates, I should say, that is coming in 2023. We're going to go over most of it. There's some things that I'm going to skip, but I'm going to try to hit the really big details that affect a lot of us. So let's first talk about some of the things that are coming. So first thing, we are looking at as early as February, World Update 12, which is going to be focusing on New Zealand. In the same fashion that we saw that was done with Canada, you're going to have more than just airports and things like that. It's going to be a much more involved update and really bringing the New Zealand area to life, as well as the surrounding islands. Again, we should see this. Hopefully it's on track by February 7th or 8th of 2023. SOA has been working with many of the other partner studios to bring everything together, and World Update 12, as they state here in the article, is absolutely no exception. So this was all information that was brought to us by a stream for Microsoft Flight Simulator's Asobo team in their stream updates. Now, we're going to go ahead and keep moving down here, guys, because there's a ton of information that I want to talk about. Really briefly, just to add a little bit more onto the New Zealand aspect, we're going to have they will have new aerials and DEM data, as well as along with 4 bespoke airports, 30 points of interest, 6 photogrammetry cities, 3 landing challenges, 3 bush trips, 3 discovery flights, and there may possibly be more points of interest as the development continues. So really awesome stuff. Now let's start talking about what we'd expect for 2023. I really liked the way this article started, because it started exactly as I was thinking. With Microsoft Flight Simulator now being over 2.5 years in development, well, okay, not quite 2.5 years, but you guys get the gist. Certainly, after it's been a while, it's been out for a while, a lot of things are starting to get polished up. There's still some issues. I'm not trying to dispute that. But I was sort of even myself thinking like, all right, well, in 2023, we're probably going to see things slow down. And this article took the words right out of my mouth as I've been thinking about that last few days. I was actually thinking about that after Sim Update 11. That is not the case. And what's beautiful about what is the case is we're going to start seeing some things that we have been begging for, someone's been wishing for, and some things that are just awesome that I didn't even know were on its way. So first off, let's talk about some of the update schedules. We are looking at possibly World Update 12, as I said, as early as February, and then World Update 13 and 14 due to release by the end of Q2 in 2023. Okay, and then following those, they will be taking a month break in September, and then World Update 15 will be coming out sometime in October. So quite a few World Updates coming, and obviously we have the Sim updates that come in between those. So crossing your fingers for a very good schedule there. With that, we're going to have 7 more local legends and a bunch of more freeware aircraft that are going to be added to the simulator, such as the famous flyers as well. And one of those being the ATR family. And we'll talk about that a little bit towards the end of this one. But those aren't due for release until basically the end of 2023, right about the time that we're in now, which is Q4. Okay, one of the aircraft that's going to be coming along with World Update 12 is the DHC, or the de Havilland 4 Caribou. The Caribou is another very awesome aircraft. It's a really great island jumper. You see it a lot in those really remote areas. It's a very fast, very powerful turboprop aircraft that brings a lot of potential exploration and simulated travel to the simulator in areas that you'd be used to seeing that particular aircraft, where some of the aircraft that we have currently you don't. Now here's what I really want to talk about. this is the one that's really exciting to me, is Working Title has now brought up a new line of updates that we're going to see as AAAU, which stands for Aircraft and Avionics Updates. And their avionics and aircraft and avionics update 1 is due to release coming this January. Let's talk about what's coming down that way. So first off, as we all know, with supported aircraft, the G1000 NXI is now the default avionics suite, or G1000 avionics suite, I should say, for G1000 compatible aircraft. And recently they have announced and released some of the work of the GNS 430 and 530 avionics suites as well, again, further enhancing these. Now let's talk about what's coming with these. This is where you guys really want us to pay attention here. Working Title have already stated they have added, amongst everything else, VNAV calculation page, improved authentic visuals, a keyboard entry mode, which we know about, full GPS and SBAS simulation, and that will obviously give us a more accurate triangulation based on our position across the globe, which further enhances the authenticity of the avionics suites themselves and navigation. Now, the cool thing is as I said, you guys, AAU1 is due for release in early January. Now, wait till you guys see what's coming with this. And with that, we'll implement the new GNS 430, 530 modifications into the base game, along with base game enhancement for the, yes, you're reading it, the G3000, 5000, CJ4, and the Cessna Citation Longitude, which you guys know that I am a big fan of. I do love the Longitude. Now let's talk about aircraft now, because Working Title, ooh, they are such monsters. So first off, we all already were blown away by the CJ4 when they took it over and completely, what we thought, revamped the aircraft. So rather than making any further updates to their already amazing CJ4, even I need to get back into it. I haven't flown it since very, very early on. But they are actually rebuilding the CJ4's Honeywell avionics suite from scratch. No more updates. They're literally going to start all over, and they are, well, actually, it sounds like they already have, and they're building it back up from scratch based on the lessons that they have learned while developing the G1000 NXI suite, as well as the other Working Title mods, such as the G3000 suite. Now, let's keep going and talk about what's going to come to the CJ4 overhaul. A new and improved soundscape, new flight model, appearance of the avionics are in store for the users of the business jet, along with proper implementation of systems such as TCAS and next-gen flight planning system. Users will now also be able to, wait for it, split the MFD and MFD screens on the pilot and co-pilot side to show more information on the flight deck. So the screens will no longer repeat themselves. You will actually be able to independently set each screen as desired. We're not done yet. Stay with me. Moving down to the G3000, 5000 suite. And for those of you who don't know, for example, the 5000 is what is quote unquote in the Cessna Citation Longitude. This comes important here in just a second, so stick with me. So, along with the next gen flight planning that we already talked about that's listed above, fully coupled VNAV, ladies and gentlemen. That means that VNAV is actually going to work. You will be able to set your desired altitudes, lock them into your flight plan, push the VNAV button, and descend or ascend, whichever one is at your particular stage of flight. It will actually work. No more using vertical speed and just tracking down the arrow. Now, I already love the way that they currently implemented VNAV, at least the VNAV guide, if you will. Let's call it that, on the PFD when you enter in your desired altitude. It still was a very, very nice development and still gave us top of descent. But yes, everybody's always saying, why can't you just hit the VNAV button? Soon we will be able to hit the VNAV button. This will be for anything that is working using the G3000. Now, for example, my two preferences on this aircraft are going, or on this suite, is going to be the TBM 930 and the Cessna Citation Longitude. Don't worry, we're still not done with the Longitude. We have more information on that coming as well. Now, on top of the VNAV split pane, MFDs and PFDs, GPS SBAS simulation that we talked about before with the G1000 NXI updates as well, and more features previously alluded to. Now, the G3000 5000 will come with plugin support for developers, meaning that developers will be able to easily use the G3000 avionics suite without having to split off their code or do any kind of weird, goofy stuff to make it work. And now have direct plugin support, so you can just add it right in, and bam, you have that functionality. Now, one of the things that I thought was kind of cheesy here, because we already have it, but I can appreciate they put it in the same. You guys know I love this kind of stuff, One of the things they did allude to here was also a minor update to the TBM 930, given the fact that now the pilot's door will be able to be opened. Now, with the TBM 930 mod from Mixmugs, we already have that functionality and quite a bit more. So I'm really hoping that they don't stop with just the pilot side door. Otherwise, it's like, guys, we already have this. And if you are a lover of the TBM 930, you know of the Mixmugs TBM 930 improvement mod, which is a fantastic modification. So I hope they do a bit more with our TBM 930, but I'm still very appreciative. Now let's talk about the big one here. The big one that I want to talk about was the Cessna Citation Longitude. The Longitude, I love this line, guys, and I'm sure you're already seeing it on the screen, but check this out. Matt from Working Titles said, people said the Longitude is a premium plane, which is true. You must have the premium version of Microsoft Flight Simulator in order to have the Longitude. However, we don't feel like it flies like a premium plane. Well, it's going to fly like a premium plane now, quote unquote, and that is absolutely true. The only way that I would ever recommend anyone fly the Cessna Citation Longitude in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and it's in the first couple pages of my Longitude tutorial guide, is to install the Longitude improvement mod. Because without it, it's a disaster. The speeds are wrong, performance is wrong, flight model's wrong, flap alerts are wrong, landing gear alarms are wrong, you name it. It's in bad shape. So Working Title has blatantly said that they are revamping the Cessna Citation Longitude, and they are going to make it fly like a premium plane. Here's where we get back into Longitude again with the G5000 avionics suite. So, along with the G5000 avionics suite, which are being worked on, auto throttle modes, path smoothing, performance calculations direct from real data, and deep system complexity taking into account temperatures and pressures are all coming to the aircraft. Wait for it, scheduled to drop in January. It's a happy new year. I cannot wait. I love flying the Longitude. I think it's an awesome plane to fly. It's a bullet in the sky, and this is going to be absolutely fantastic. This made my day reading this. We have been asking for the Longitude to receive an update. We all expected it to happen, and it never came. So all of this is planned just for just the first aircraft and avionics update due to release in January. 2 more aircraft and avionics updates are scheduled for later in the year, although we haven't been getting any details on what those particularly will contain. So super freaking awesome. Now, some speculation that they do have here is that leaders have taken to be that this is a hint at reworking of the 787-10. I would greatly appreciate that. Included in none other, as we just talked about, the premium deluxe version of Microsoft Flight Simulator. One of the questions that I get asked very often on my channel is, do you have to have the 787-10 to use the 787-10 add-on? The answer is absolutely yes. So which means you have to either purchase the aircraft individually, which I don't even know if you can do, or you have to upgrade to the premium deluxe version of Microsoft Flight Simulator. So if you're going to call it a premium version, and therefore part of a premium aircraft package, the aircrafts better be premium. And I love that that was directly quoted from Working Title. That was so awesome. ATR 72 development updates. They are announcing that once again, that aircraft is being developed. We have not heard squat about that in quite a while. And now they have finally started to talk a little bit more about it. So one of the things that the ATR 72 aircraft is going to have is the development team has implemented advanced avionics, including synthetic vision, TARS, weather radar, and EFB and ground terrain maps. Virtual control panel and something unique to the ATR has also been included, which allows users to configure their avionics. The EFB, which we all know that we love the EFBs. It doesn't matter where you get your EFB information from or how you control it. The EFBs are a must, especially for flight simulation. I mean, never mind the real world, absolutely. But in flight simulation, with all the different avionics and updates and charts and everything that we have now available to flight simulation that wasn't around 10, 15 years ago, you know, the EFBs are becoming a real big deal. So this EFB contains real-world ATR data and can calculate speeds, center of gravity, takeoff trim, and landing distance. Icing and other service conditions are also taken into account, which Hans commented will be helpful as the ATR is known for being a bit of a challenge if the correct icing procedures aren't fully followed. That's good to know. So A ton of more information is still exists about these aircraft here, guys. I highly recommend that you check out the link, read through it again. And again, you can view the full developers live stream here at the bottom of this link. Guys, watch it. I was watching it earlier today while I was at work and it was quiet. There's so much information, guys. So much cool stuff happening. I am super excited for January. I think January is going to be one of the coolest updates I've seen yet. This is the most excited I have been. And mostly, it really does come down to the avionics portion. With the working title enhancements and the advancements or the updates to the Cessna Citation Longitude, this is going to be a very, very cool update. And I figured that you guys would definitely appreciate that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you guys are just as excited for January in the World Update 12 and the 2023 roadmap as I am. This is going to be a great time for Microsoft Flight Simulator and see some improvements that we have definitely all been waiting for that are going to impact multiple aircraft across the system. So cross your fingers that all goes well, and we truly do see this in January. Big shout out to the working title team and the guys at Asobo. As always, guys, stay safe and healthy, and I will see you in the next one.